and regulations,
No.
but a page and a half of
Yeah,
parking.
like a page and a half of parking.
Yep, it's all in there. Yeah, it's all
There
in
you
there.
go.
Okay. Maybe I'm.
But if you don't have a copy, just email me, I'll send it to you, but yeah. And I did print the parking by itself so that when people come and get decals, they get just that, but it's all in the rules and regulations.
Number 13.
Yeah, so I was waiting for it separate, like we did it before.
That was Comto's thing, that wasn't the board.
No, you mean like how EJ did it? It's posted out there?
It was Comto's thing. This
Oh,
is,
okay.
this
So
is
are we,
the board.
So-
No, that, those need to come down.
they need to come down?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember what we talked about, and we talked about it for the motorcycle,
Yeah.
the scooters?
Yeah.
Okay, so I still don't know if we're clear on the scooters. Because we
See
have
what it says.
we have the two scooters, and I think somebody sent an email for,
And obviously the board knows, whatever, Duet has resigned. I just got that yesterday, whatever. I'm going to address that, but I'm obviously board
Oh.
meeting.
the scooters?
Yes.
Okay.
But I need to figure out the chain. I don't know if letters have been sent.
Right.
I need to find out what was done before
Okay.
we do something else.
Okay.
Which brings me to a question, Jeremy, while you're here. So Duet resigned today. It's not on the agenda, but she was our secretary, and I know the statute requires it. Can the board, without it being on the agenda, organize and appoint someone, just a secretary, so that that is filled, or do they need to just put it on the next agenda?
I'd put it on the next agenda. I mean, that's what the law requires. All the owners were entitled to notice. It wasn't on there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be preaching, hey, let's do it right. And then I say, just go ahead and do the vote and we'll ratify it later. I mean, yeah. Are you going to get arrested tonight by the condo
Right.
police? But if we're trying to set a good example, we need to notice.
Just reorganize it. They need a secretary. Not really, I do,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
I received something that said, I had put a notice out for apartment for rental for one of my owners.
Uh-huh.
In
In the association bulletin board, yeah, I know.
Okay, so, and that would have had to have been approved, right? In order to put that up?
Well, yeah, the board should make a decision, if you're gonna use association property to allow owners to post advertisements. I can't imagine what your bulletin boards are gonna look like,
Right.
but you're gonna
And it's
have
gotta
to
be
make
fair
that
to
decision
one.
together.
We've always had them in ours, so I thought, oh, okay, and then when the lady said, oh,
So,
can you post this?
here,
I said, yeah.
let's at the end of the day, next
Yeah.
meeting, let's do that. Let's make some kind of motion, or we'll discuss that and get it on the agenda for what's allowed or not allowed
Yeah,
in the
because right now,
bulletin board.
there's outdated parking rules
Yeah.
still in there. There's some,
All right,
something about some YouTube or something like that, I have no idea what that is.
well, that needs to
Board
come down,
doesn't.
YouTube down, old parking road. The only thing that should be in there that the board has agreed to is the agenda for tonight's meeting. And we did agree to the social committee, but I think they just tape places.
Yeah.
They do?
Okay.
Does
So
anyone
let's-
else
let's-
have parking questions?
Anything else for parking?
I have one
You can
question.
check it.
I have, this for the board, not for our attorney, really. Clarification, I have a guest coming tomorrow. Can I have my guest park in my spot and I take a visitor?
No.
No.
I
No,
cannot do
they
that.
could potentially be towed.
Definitely not. Good.
Can I ask a question on any topic?
No.
Or
No.
make a comment?
No.
No?
No, but you can talk to us after. We're 2 hours in, we're about to wrap up. If anybody doesn't have any more parking questions, then
Well,
we're...
Is cluster one gonna have visitor parking then on the pavement, or what's the,
No.
so there's gonna be no visitor parking in cluster one?
They have enough visitor parking up here to use for general.
Oh no, you're talking about the 3 spots that are visitor parking, yes, but they were assigned, right?
No.
No.
What do you mean no?
We already have, per Kelvin's calculations, we already have double the amount of visitor parking spaces on this property that he would recommend. So, I'm not saying, fine, if you wanna divvy it up, then,
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, Nancy, I'm not trying to start stuff with you, you know I love you, but you're saying Nancy can't
No, no.
Wait, let me finish. You're saying Nancy can't post signs to limit that area to just cluster one, because they're not limited common elements, and the board has a right to do that. But the board's gonna give them to her for that, because we're not gonna put any visitor signs there.
There's none in 2 either.
Yeah.
There
No,
aren't
they're not.
any in 2?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 doesn't even have enough parking spaces for 2.
But does 1 have enough
One
parking?
has exactly
Yes.
the number of parking places we need based on the cars that the residents have.
Okay,
Exactly. That
okay.
includes covered and non-covered.
And you're
parking.
all,
So-
that's okay with
Yeah,
everybody?
because
But-
any blank yellow spot can be used by anybody with a parking permit on Devil Springs property. They can park anywhere.
Okay, so we're just taking down the.
Taking down the signs.
Cluster 5 can't park here, but we're not gonna put any visitors, because she doesn't have room for it.
Yeah, there's
Unless she
visitors
wants,
everywhere.
unless she wants 2 visitor parking spaces, we've agreed,
A sign.
a sign for 2 open visitor parking spaces.
Okay, okay.
But it wouldn't
And
be
it wouldn't be
just,
just cluster 1
it would be
visitor.
just, instead
It
of
would be any
painting on the
visitor.
ground,
Okay.
it
I
would be 2
misunderstood,
signs.
and I thought you guys were making a fuss about
No,
the signs and then
no,
giving her the
no,
rights anyway. I
no,
was like, why
no.
the police
She
have enough
could,
signs then?
she could put 2 signs up for 2 parking spaces. No different than when I looked at Charlie and said, well,
Wait a minute, what kind of signs are we talking about right now?
visitor,
Visitor.
just visitor.
Don't they paint that crap on the ground?
Yeah,
Yes, but it was agreed upon not to paint them on the ground in your cluster. And if you wanted it in 2 signs, you could put 2 signs up that Comco would provide
Okay.
that said visitor. But also looking at the layout, we have double the amount of visitor parking spaces that Kelvin would even recommend for our community. We could get rid of half of the visitor parking spaces, and Kelvin thinks that would be fine.
Well, don't do
9
that, I
of
couldn't
them are
find a
straight
spot
out
for
from our
that.
cluster.
What's
Right.
that?
9
Right.
of them are
Correct.
straight out from our cluster.
Correct.
so that should be sufficient.
That should be sufficient.
Okay.
For sometimes, most times.
Yes, and no different, personally, why does Charlie need two visitor parking spaces in his cluster? He's got
all
12 of
a
them over
dozen
there.
of them over there.
But it's his cluster, I gave him the option, he wanted them. No different than I gave you the option,
Right, and we didn't.
and you
But
didn't.
The problem could come up with cluster,
And,
with what?
and as far as visitor spaces, right now, I don't believe we have an issue. And when we do have an issue, then let's talk about it.
Right.
Yeah,
But
we
the
address
only
it.
problem could come up is when you've got 2 spaces at like cluster 4 and 2 at cluster 3, and owners park there. Then there's no room for a visitor to park there. So owners should only park in the yellow
Correct.
spots, not visitor.
I've been telling people that once I give them, even if it's
Yes.
that virtual permit, don't park in the
Yes,
visitor
they
spot.
should, they should not park there.
Visitors should be strictly for visitors.
And you know what, maybe 6 months or 9 months down the road, if that becomes an issue, let's tackle it then. And then,
Okay.
Okay, Tom, we're gonna ask you for an agenda item. Clubhouse parking for next time, clubhouse parking in cluster 1. It became a hideous problem on Sunday.
Sure.
Easter Sunday.
Sure.
Because clubhouse was rented out to an owner. They had, I don't even know how many people, but they took our entire front row. And the
37.
people, and the, pardon me?
37 people.
And the people who live here
sure.
had no place for their guests to park when they came to have dinner with them. That's not fair.
Right.
That's not fair.
Edna's had her hand up for like 20
Yeah.
minutes. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna make the comment that the fact that you don't have any visitor parking spaces in yours is that if you have a guest that's just gonna be there for one night, they're gonna have to park way
They're
over
gonna park
there.
in the front.
Yeah, way over
Yep,
here.
and that's what I would tell them,
Okay.
is that they
Which
need to park in the front.
In fact,
Now,
I
when
might make it about it another one.
Well,
because-
and yes, let's put that on the
I'd
agenda.
like to see that.
Yes, because legit as, you know, obviously, we would all love to see the clubhouse getting rented out every day.
Absolutely.
But that's gonna create this issue, and that's not fair.
And then.
No, it's not.
No,
Well-
so we need to figure out how to address
You're
that.
talking about holidays.
Correct.
Okay, Tom.
All right, agenda item.
Tom,
Okay.
sorry,
Uh,
we're still
one-
confused, okay? I'm sorry, we're stupid.
Is this
About
on parking?
Yes,
Okay.
we're stupid. In
No,
cluster,
nobody's stupid.
in cluster 2, you know, all those spots along, you know, Bells,
The fence.
They're not marked visitors, so where do we
Are
park?
those aren't visitor spots along the fence?
No.
Those are for residents.
So where, we
Where
have
are
people
our
come,
visitor
where,
spots?
Edna
There's
gave
four on the corner.
on the corner
Six.
between
Four,
cluster
no,
2
four.
and
And they're marked
6,
By the
visitor?
and they're
dumpsters.
marked visitor.
Okay.
A visitor can park in any visitor spot.
Yeah.
Any, what do you mean, so we can
Any
park out
spot
here?
marked visitor.
Any spot marked visitor, your visitor can park in. If you
Any cluster?
any cluster,
Yeah,
any visitor spot.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I thought it might be a good idea to put 2 at cluster 2 and 2 at cluster 1. So she would have a couple right there for her visitors, and cluster 2 would not, instead of going to cluster 6, they'd have a couple back in the corners.
But I'd rather have the single mom who has a second vehicle, or maybe not single mom, because obviously she'd be in the
Who's
same
driving
parking
that?
spot, but nevertheless, I'd rather have the mom with 2 kids be able to park along Bell's versus having to park somewhere else because those 2 spaces are used for visitors.
Are we done the agenda items? Cause
Well-
it's been,
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yep.
Do we have, like a message sent out to everybody that full parking enforcement is now in effect? Because I keep telling my people that it's coming soon, and I think they're all ready. But just to send out, that yes, now,
So are they doing it now?
Yes. Calvin's doing whatever Calvin's doing.
so everybody needs to know that.
Cause I said,
I
I didn't
think,
know
I
either.
think everybody's waiting for the parking procedure. That's everybody's.
Well,
Well,
everybody's got
the
them.
park, it's in the parking rules.
We've had like 16 meetings.
Yeah.
We've sent it out
No, but
twice.
they-
No, I'm sorry. That was,
Everybody's
I'm not
been
saying
asking-
Calvin's doing what Calvin's doing.
Alright,
Calvin is implementing our parking plan, our parking procedure, what his specialty is.
I'll
He is-
send out an email, it's in full effect, and I will attach the parking
There you go.
regulations to
Yeah,
it,
that's
okay?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Isn't
More
it
is better on
number
that.
13, because my copies don't have number 13 at all.
Oh,
Is it 13?
did we change it
I thought
to
it was
12?
13.
We might have changed it to 12 because of, or did we not?
It says vehicles, right? Doesn't it say vehicles?
Yes, that's
What?
12.
The
That's
section?
12.
12,
We're
sorry.
not making changes, I'm not redoing it now.
No.
Is it 12 or 13? What number?
Whatever it is, it's 12.
It's 12 now.
Okay.
Okay, I just
Okay.
wanted to
I've been
make
saying
sure
it's
that
13.
because I'll give Susan this
And she
extra
said I
copy.
can't find it.
All right, is,
Move for adjournment?
I have it, Nancy. I had that.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
I.
Any opposed?
Better not be, you better get off mute and say no.